All right, so we got a couple 919 boys hanging out at the 704. Got our first really athletic guest, Thayer Thomas. Thanks for the time.
No problem.
Dual sport athlete at NC State. Buddy of mine, Drake, set this whole thing up. So, Drake, give us kind of the lowdown about how you and Thayer go back in time.
Yeah, man. Me and Thayer go way back, along with his little brother Drake also, and my little brother Trent and his little brother Lex. And we just kind of grew up together. We played multiple sports together, baseball, basketball, football. And then Thayer branched out and he did, a few other things on the side too. And it was just, we played all those sports really together and on the same teams. So when it would go back and forth we would go from like a baseball practice to a basketball game. And then the next morning we'd have, he'd do football workouts and things like that. We would all kind of, that's how we really became friends through those sports. And so it kind of just connected us in that way. And, it was a blast. I loved every second of it. And I loved going back and forth and, being late to some practices because we had a game earlier that day. And, it was a lot of fun growing up and doing that throughout years. It was started at what were we, like 10? When it all started going?
It was literally probably 7.
Yeah, 7 even.
So basically, the first time I met you was through YMCA basketball, which is the Wakefield YMCA, which was, a big spot of our hangouts and where everything sort of started. Because y'all lived in Wakefield and we lived in Bedford, which is right near Wakefield. So obviously I don't really play with Drake that much besides football because Drake was always older than me and my brother, and then I would always be on Trent's team. But it was usually literally we did basketball, and there'd be times where I would ride with your parents to tournaments. There'd be times where y'all rode with my parents.
Yeah.
And there would be times where we would go a week at a tournament and then drive from that tournament directly to another tournament and spend another week there. So for example, me and Trent went to Lexington, Kentucky. Then we drove straight to Myrtle Beach for a baseball tournament. Yeah. And when we played basketball in Lexington, it was just crazy chaos all the time. And then we would participate in these basketball teams that were 30 minutes away from where we lived. Right. So we would carpool to those practices twice a week. And then when we get back from those practices, it would be 10 at night. Yeah. And then our parents would hang out and drink a couple beers.
Yeah. And those are the days.
This guy.
I know.
No, but it was, and what was cool about it is that when we were on the same football teams, your dad was the head football coach for us. And I don't know why my dad would be there because he didn't know jack shit about football.
You tell him.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so we would go from football practices, and then my dad was the baseball coach. And then when we came to
for baseball, you didn't know he was
exactly. But then it kind of, and then it kind of was a happy medium when we played basketball together because they would both coaches. They were both coaches.
And then sometimes one would get kicked out of the game and the other one would be the head coach. Yeah. And one would get kicked out of the game and the other one would be the head coach.
Right, yeah. So it was just, it was a lot back and forth. I didn't even understand why we played in those rec leagues even too, because we were on AAU teams and then rec leagues during
There was times in the winter. There was times in the winter we were on we were on Raleigh Parks and Rec basketball team, YMCA basketball team, and we were on an AAU team. So we were on 3 teams. Yeah. And sometimes WCBA. 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Raleigh Parks and Rec. Okay, and so there would be 4 different teams. And it was just obviously looking back on it, it made a lot of great experiences for all of us, even though, our moms could probably look at it and say it was pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh, it was just, I know that they went through hell trying to take us through all that stuff and the sacrifices that they made constantly, and then the best part about it though was when we would come back from, let's say, those 2 weekends or whatever where we go back and forth and we spend those weeks playing football and baseball or baseball and basketball, and then we'd come back and we'd finally end up at my house. And then we'd sit there and then we'd kind of sneak upstairs to be like, oh, you guys want to stay, have a couple drinks or whatever, and we can hang out. And then we'd go play basketball upstairs, and then we'd just continue just the knee sports or whatever and just
we hope our parents would continue to just hang out.
Yeah, exactly. They would shout out, and they would try and get you guys to come upstairs.
5 more minutes.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. So, it was a lot of fun, but it was always the sports that kind of surrounded everything and kind of kept us intact. But even, it was, and then in the summer days, we'd wake up and we'd run or we'd bike to the Y, and then we'd stay at the Y and we'd play pickup basketball for however long until we had $7, and then we'd walk to the McDonald's.
And then we'd walk to McDonald's, and then your dad would get us to go to the baseball field.
Yeah.
And then we'd spend 3 hours at the baseball field.
Right.
And then there'd be times where your dad would pick me up from school, check me out of school to go to the field with y'all.
Yeah.
Just so we get there.
We gotta leave early.
Yeah.
You gotta leave early.
crazy
but
stuff.
it was a lot of fun. You know, but that's kind of like the background, I guess. You know, and then he went to Heritage, and me and my little brother Trent, we went to NRCA. And so it kind of separated in a way, but, you know, not too far off. We were still in the same location in Wake Forest, and we still played travel ball together and things like that. But I'm just glad that it's kind of, you know, we stayed connected through the whole thing. And it really hadn't changed much, man. And that I think that speaks volumes for really how close we were growing up and things like that. And so I am really thankful for that. Now, you know, you're at NC State doing both. Playing baseball and football. Got drafted by the freaking Red Sox 2 years ago, you know. That was your sophomore year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sophomore year, and now you're, you know, wide receiver at NC State. You know, what are your stats right now? Do you have any idea? Like
This year?
How many touchdowns you got
I
this
have
year?
7 touchdowns, 40 catches, and like 500 yards.
Yeah, Mr.
But
Reliable.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, you know, everything's sort of like, I mean, obviously growing up, it was like we spent every waking minute with each other. And then, like, obviously in high school and, you know, we sort of parted our ways. Like, we still try to go watch each other play. Like,
Oh, for sure.
I would come watch them play a basketball game here and there, and then they try to come watch a football game or come watch a basketball game as well.
Right.
So, like, you know, I always wish that they would, because they could have definitely came to probably the high school the whole time.
Yeah.
But they decided to go to the NRCA, and so it was just a little bit different. But luckily, Trent, the younger brother, he came my senior year to Heritage and was able to spend a year there and helped us, you know, be a really good baseball team. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a crazy journey with just, you know, them, and then it's just obviously grown into what it is today. So.
Right. And, you know, okay, so I kind of want to understand the work ethic. Like, when we break things down and we talk about, you know, obviously you were like, at one point I remember you were on a soccer team, you were doing gymnastics, you were on a football team, you were on a baseball team, and you were playing basketball. And, I mean, obviously all of those are going to fucking overlap at some point. So how did you make the time to kind of, you know, dedicate yourself when it comes to really, you know, being really, you know, good at all of those sports?
Yeah, so obviously growing up, football was more of a, you know, show and play up. I mean, show up and play.
Yeah.
And it's like a show and go type of thing. And the basketball and the baseball was more of the skilled type of sports that I really focused on. And soccer, I just was, you know, I would go out there and play defense and be very physical. And like a lot of the soccer kids weren't very physical, so I was able to play well, just being physical and, you know, muscling them around the field and stuff like that. And gymnastics was like, you know, gymnastics was a thing that I did from probably the age of 3 to 9. So like after, you know, I was 10, I really stopped doing that just to do the other 4. But
what were the benefits of gymnastics?
Oh, dude, probably everything.
yeah, so gymnastics basically, you know, as a kid you don't want to lift weights, but it allowed you to do all these different types of body weight movements and strength stuff. So it really set a good foundation for my core muscles, and, you know, just my overall body weight muscles that you would use in a push-up, you know, stuff like that. And so I feel like that sort of set me up a little bit for success going against different kids at certain ages, because a lot of kids, honestly, like I remember my youngest brother didn't really do gymnastics, and he couldn't do a push-up for the longest. Like I would say he couldn't do a push-up until probably 6th or 7th grade.
Right.
And like when you start at a young age, when you're doing those functional type of lifting, I mean, functional type of movements, it definitely helps you up for success, just, you know, basic movements.
Yeah.
And so when I got to the age where I decided to start playing 3,
cut it down to 3.
yeah,
Cut it down. You gotta cut something out.
Yeah, cut it down to 3. I just really honestly focused on, I wanted to play baseball or basketball my whole life, and obviously football was fun because it was like one of those sports where it was my dad played college football, so he loved us playing football, and it was just one of those things in the fall that we did and we were good at because we played on really good teams. But honestly, like the work that I put in all my whole life, I'd say before college was definitely towards baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
I would take hundreds and hundreds of swings, and I remember your dad would be like, you know, you're gonna swing out of. He would say stuff like, you know, you're gonna overswing, and you know you're gonna lose what you have because you're swinging too much.
Yeah.
He's like, he used to tell me to go in there, hit until you feel good, and then get out.
Yeah,
and I would
exactly.
overswing, and then sometimes it'd get me into my own
You swing
funk.
yourself out of it.
Yeah,
You swing yourself out of the
it.
field. You know, and it is true. You know, and I mean, well, he might not have had the same perspective with us because my hands would be shaking by the time that we get on the 5th or 6th bucket or whatever it was. But I remember growing up too, and we had the cage in our house. Fortunately, you know, we were probably the most spoiled kids in Wakefield, and he was giving us so much crap one day for the fact that, because we had lied to him and we had said that we had hit that morning because I wanted to go hang out with my buddies or whatever and shit like that, and he was like, man, Thayer uses this cage more than y'all do, and it's in your fucking house. And so he always constantly gave us crap about that because you would always text us, and it would be 10:30 at night, and we were 14. Like, we gotta let's go to bed.
As soon as y'all moved, so y'all lived in obviously a part of Wakefield, and then you moved to that new house, and you got the batting cage, and obviously we were already close the way it was. Like, besides maybe a few people, I was probably closer with y'all than anybody else, and then. So when y'all got that, I was like, okay, like we could all hit together and stuff like that. So then, like, my dad would never say no to take me to hit. So I would always ask my dad, could we go go to the Harris's to hit? And so literally we would go there. We would finish up basketball practice, maybe in the winter, and then because like in the winter you would use that, obviously have a resource because it's freaking cold outside. You don't hit outside, so
indoors. Yeah.
We would go there and really late at night and then hit, and then sometimes Miss Tiffany would be like, no, y'all ain't hitting tonight.
Yeah, you can't hit tonight.
Trying to sleep, you just hear the fucking bell.
Yeah, exactly. So I would be like, can they, because they would obviously let me use it whenever I wanted to, but I always wanted to include them. Like, when my dad would bring me over, like, do y'all want to hit too? Oh, we already hit with Coach Harris.
And I would be like, oh my God, Thayer wants to fucking come hit again. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, give me a break.
Your dad's just like, well, you guys go ahead. Like,
exactly. No, I'm telling you, man, it really was, dude. It was almost like, and I swear, even to this day, just because the work ethic, nobody really, appreciates it. I don't think. I mean, maybe now they do because they're seeing the results that it's, turned out for you. But looking back on it now, and even to this day, and you're 2 years younger than me, like, when I wake up on Sundays and I'm fucking hungover or whatever, I swear, and I'm laying on the couch at like 2 p.m. and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, Thayer has probably got 2 workouts in. He's doing his routes. He's hit already, and the kid doesn't even fucking play baseball. I gotta go do something to like benefit myself somehow. But it was just crazy. So, could you break down a little bit for us? Like we were talking about a little bit earlier, like the quarantine-esque, like even when everything shut down, man, and you still found a way to like make a schedule, and you knew what you were doing. So if you could, just
I'm gonna go back to high school a little bit because in high school I felt like I really started the whole schedule thing and sort of set me up for success when I got to college and how to manage my time. Playing 3 sports in high school really helped me. So I would play high school football, and then we would have practice in the mornings in the summer, right? Because that's before school started. So we would practice in the morning in August, trying to get ready for the season. And then I'm thinking about, I got to get ready for fucking basketball season.
Yeah,
so,
right around the corner.
Yeah, it's right around the corner, and I'm trying to, I need to get my shots up. So I would practice.
Yep.
So my mom worked at Heritage High School, so I have a key to the high school. So I literally could use that gym whenever I wanted to. So I would literally, take a shower and, put my pads up. I literally packed lunch. My mom would pack me lunch. I would go in the gym, eat my lunch in the gym. That way I didn't have to leave and go to McDonald's or leave and get food and get distracted with where my friends were going. Because they would always go leave practice, and you know how it is in high school, eat with your buddies and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd pack lunch, come in the gym, eat my lunch, get my 500 shots up. And after that, I think sometimes I would go up to the cage and hit. And then I would get my work in throughout the day like that. And then obviously I would use my nights as like time to hang out with my friends and stuff. But throughout the day, bro, during the summer, all through high school, it was work, and then I would use my nights as like the hangout time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But later in high school, I would say around my senior year, like it was more of playing instead of training during the summer because you're trying to show out, you're trying to play in front of all these coaches and stuff so you get offers. And so during the summers, there would be times where I would not be home for 5 weeks in a row because I would go from basketball tournament to baseball tournament to basketball tournament. Right. And meanwhile, my high school football team is practicing all summer, and I'm not there because I'm trying to, play basketball and baseball still in college. Yeah. So I'm going to these tournaments across the country. And, there'd be times where I'm like, dang, like, I don't want them to hold it against me. I was just worried about stuff like that. But, bro, there would be literally, like, I would go from tournament to tournament to tournament, and, like, it would be a lot of my body, wear and tear my body. But football would always, it would always fall back. I would always fall back in football as a time of, like, when it was football season, I would try to do as little as possible with every other sport and just focus on football. Yeah. And that was sort of my break.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, so when it comes to, I guess, then your senior year of high school, right, and you're still, like, monstering in these 3 sports, and I'll be the first one to say,
too. I had no offers my senior year.
Yeah, I understand that, but you still, I mean, what, you were the, oh my gosh, you were like the Wake County Athlete of the Year because you hold the record in assists at Heritage in basketball, record in yards in baseball, record in yards in football, and then you had the record batting average in baseball.
Yeah.
So colleges may have taken
tire pump.
probably exactly it was different, man, and and from my perspective too, I always thought that you could really excel in baseball because I thought you were obviously a hell of a baseball player, and I was like, just percentages wise, it makes more sense for you to play baseball and focus on baseball just because the draft and everything like that. It's just a little bit easier, and it's something that you can do as a professional.
And I always grew up
really
dreaming to play Major League Baseball, and I felt like baseball was my best sport just because I never really gave myself the opportunities to have a lot of success in football in my young ages because I really didn't put a lot of time in it.
Mm-hmm.
I put all my time into baseball and basketball, and that's why I was seeing a lot of success in those sports. But I didn't put the time in for football, so I'm like, and then also I was a smaller kid. Obviously, I wasn't that small when we were younger, but then as we got into high school, you shot up before all of us.
Yeah.
So then I was really small. I was probably 5'6" when in high school.
Yeah.
You shot up, and I was like, damn, and then I think Trent was the same way. Trent was small like me.
Mm-hmm.
We just went through this stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I'm probably not gonna play college football because I see these college football players. I'm like, there's no way I can play.
Right. So then you had that. Did you have a slight doubt when it came to senior year, and then you get the offers from Davidson and UNC Charlotte for baseball?
For baseball,
yeah. And how did you, I guess, come to the conclusion, be like, you know what, hey, fuck both of you. I'm gonna go walk on to NC State and play both of them.
Yeah. So senior year was a little crazy. So I went into my senior year basically thinking this was my last year of football. I played the year before. Meanwhile, I played JV in every sport up until my junior year. So that was I played freshman and sophomore year. But if you play JV for both freshman and sophomore year in any sport, your chances of playing college sports are not that great. Not that great at all. And especially honestly, football it's a very small window.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and so I'm already sort of behind the spectrum of recruiting and just the odds being against me. So I started. My first varsity game was actually my little brother's first varsity game as a freshman in football, my junior year. So so my junior year was my first varsity game. My brother was a freshman. He started on varsity. So that's just sad in itself. My little brother and we had to put the same varsity the first time at the same time.
Yeah.
So that year I had a good year. I had 400 yards and whatever many touchdowns, but I broke my collarbone and I missed half the rest of the season. So I broke it with 6 games in, and so obviously I only had 6 games of varsity film for football. And then I had a decent basketball season my junior year. We beat Millbrook for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal.
That was, yeah.
And then in baseball, I think we went 19-5 and made it to the second or third round of the playoffs. And I had, 350, 300 in between that area. And I did good. And so I'm like, okay, I have a chance. I think my best season was baseball season that year.
Right.
And so I think that was the best sport. And I was like, you know what?
That's where you then focused. You were like, I'm going to play baseball.
I'm going to play baseball in college. And so that summer, so after that last baseball game, we went to App State with your dad. He was the head coach of our team, and he was trying to help me out. He's like, "Where do you want to go to school?" I gave him a list and he's like, "I think he thought your dad always thought I was better than what I was.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad would be like, I think you can do better than that or something." I would say maybe Campbell or something. He's like,
right.
"Well, why don't you put an ACC school on your radar?" I'm like, I didn't really think I was that good or whatever. So we go to App State. They just fired their whole coaching staff, and we played there the first day. So there's no coaches, my luck. You usually go there.
Exactly.
The coach is there to watch, right?
Yep.
So we go to play at App State the first game of the tournament. The first at-bat, I hit a home run. The second at-bat, I hit a triple off the wall. Mm-hmm. The third at-bat, I hit a double. And I think I hit a single in the fourth at-bat. So I hit a cycle.
Cycling it.
The first game
no
of the
coaches.
tournament, no coaches. And so I'm sitting there I didn't realize there wasn't a coach there until after game. I asked your dad. And
You're just walking out, just waiting for people to come
yeah,
to you.
Yeah, need an offer.
I'm just because your dad was after that game, your dad, you got a chance to be really good. You need to just really focus on baseball. He even mentioned maybe not playing football. Because in the falls, during the fall, you can go to those camps and stuff and get seeing more. And so I was like, okay, I'll put it in the back of my head and stuff. And then it was just a grind throughout the whole summer. So by playing 3 sports that whole year, bro, after that tournament, I was having back issues leading up to the end of my high school baseball season. And I felt it a little bit during that tournament that I just mentioned in Appalachian State.
Oh, you hit for the cycle in the back?
Yes.
Is that what you did?
Coach, get the team off. This hurts.
So I think the weekend that we didn't have a tournament for baseball that summer, we had the state games, which I made for that team. And the state games is basically you take the best high school players in your region, and there's 8 regions in North Carolina. So my region is like Johnston County, Wake County, Orange County, Durham County. That's my region. So I made that team, and we play at the USA Complex over a weekend. Wow. So no.
No.
We had so before the tournament, you basically have a pro style workout in front of all these college coaches.
Yeah.
And literally 3 days before, I'm hitting in the cage and like my back is killing me. And I go to the doctor and they tell me I have stress fractures in my back, and basically saying shut it down the whole summer. And this is my last summer to get looked at.
Hate to hear it. Yep.
And I'm like, there's no damn way I can't shut it down. Yeah. So my dad's like, we're not fucking shutting this shit down.
No, of course can't.
You're not shutting it down. He's like, your future depends on you playing in front of these people.
Yeah, you got 4 months right here.
Yeah. So he's like, you know what? F what the doctor said.
Yeah.
They gave me a back brace to wear. It literally was from here to here. And so I would wear that, which was stupid because it was making my core muscles weaker. So I would wear that. When I get to the game, I would unstrap it, throw it in the car, get out, play the game, come back, wear the back brace. Put it back on. And I would take at least, like wherever we were hotels, buy ice bath, just so I could manage my pain. And so it got to a point, I was playing through the basketball and baseball with this injury. Yeah. Stress fractures in my spine. And so we get to the end of this summer, and I played like shit because my back was fucked up.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I didn't have any offers still. Davidson was sort of looking at me.
Yeah.
And UNC shot a little bit.
Yeah, I remember Davison was pretty hard on you.
Yeah. And so they didn't offer yet, but I was like, okay, at least they have some interest. But literally, I was like, bro, F this. Like, I still have no offers and like, whatever. So I get the football season right at August 1st, and I still had. So I went to the doctor to get cleared because he didn't know I was still playing all this time.
Right.
So they needed for me to legally play in high school football. They needed for me to get cleared from the doctor, and he wouldn't clear me. He said, it's not looking too good. I'm not going to clear you. He's like, I was like, when did you think you could clear me? He's like, it looks probably like around November. And that's like my whole football season.
Right.
So I'm like, my dad, we were just like, we
got to find a doctor.
Yeah, so that's what we did. So it was August 1st. My dad calls his old strength coach in Marshall. His wife is an orthopedic surgeon in Kentucky. He's like, you think you can clear Thayer?
Yeah.
We're like, yeah.
Need a favor.
We drove to Kentucky that night.
Really?
Drove to Kentucky.
I never heard this.
Got cleared.
Bro, did your car have 500,000 miles
Oh
on it?
my
It
God.
has 250,000 miles.
Oh my God.
So we drove to Kentucky that night. Stayed there for about 45 minutes just to get cleared.
Yep.
Drove back. I went to practice. Football practice the next day.
Yeah.
And so that's just the story, bro. If I don't do that, I don't play my senior year. I don't end up at NC State.
Yeah. Okay. So then what? Okay. So you have a good senior year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we start out senior year. I mean, we went 6-6 the year before, so we weren't the best. But we had everybody coming back. We go 12-2, and I have over 1,000 yards. I had over 10 touchdowns, and I just had a stellar year. I just didn't really expect it because I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself. I was just like, I'm gonna go have fun out there. Like it's my last time playing football because I didn't think I was playing in college. So I was like, I'm just gonna leave it all out there, And I ended up having crazy numbers. And my head coach was Dwayne Washington, who played in the NFL. My receiver coach was Torrey Holt, who's an NC State legend. And so Coach Dorn, came to a game not to watch me. Not to watch me. He came to watch my brother. He came to watch Ricky Person, who's our running back, who's now NC State with us.
Yeah.
He came to watch Aleem McNeil, who's now declaring for the draft, who's NC State. Trent Penix, because we played Sanderson High School, so he came to watch all these guys.
Right.
And so he comes to the game. I think I had like 200 yards receiving, and I had a good kick return, and I just played well. I think I had a touchdown, and he basically texted Torrey Holt and my head coach after the game and said, "Who the hell is number 5?"
Right.
He's like, he can ball. Like, does he have any offers? Where is he committed to? And they were like, he's a senior. He doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
The next day, he invited me on a visit, and basically told me, he was like, after seeing you last night, you really like turned my head, and he's just like, we don't have any scholarships to give you, but I can tell you right now, if we did, we'd give you one. And he just said, we really want to consider you to come walk on here and be a legit guy to maybe play. And so, I finished the season, and I still didn't know what I was going to do. So we get to like December, and they officially offered me the preferred walk-on, if you want to call that an offer, but it really wasn't an offer. So I had that on the table. Throughout that fall, I went to Davidson camp just so they could reevaluate me for baseball. They offered me. Like 30% or whatever.
Yeah.
Charlotte offered me very minimum, maybe just a roster spot.
Yeah, on a side note, too,
Yeah.
you did have a 4-0 in Or what'd you have in high school? A 5?
4.9.
A 4.9. Okay, yeah. So 9 sport athletes.
So that's why I was considering. That's why I was considering.
I personally haven't slept since I was 15.
Yeah.
That's why I was considering Davidson because my grades would help me get into that.
Yeah.
So,
what was the kicker? What was the kicker between Davidson and NC State? It was football?
Yeah, I just went, so I was
I love how it switches throughout. Like it's like literally every year.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, which one should I not do? No, I have to do that one.
Yeah.
Broken back, hit me hard.
So I did go like during the senior year process. I did put a lot of time into basketball. So like we were the number 1 team in the state my senior year. We didn't lose a game the entire year. We went 24-0. That's never been done before in our conference history. We literally beat every team. We beat Millbrook 3 times. Whoever's beat Millbrook basketball team 3 times in a season, which is crazy. And we won the John Wall tournament, which is a big Christmas.
I remember being there.
They invite, dude,
oh my god.
Yeah.
There's at least 2 of the top 5 picks in the NBA draft at that. I remember watching Bam Adebayo play De'Aaron Fox.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god. It was crazy. Yeah.
Literally, we're getting ready for the championship tip ball, and I'm looking around like the gym's packed. On the baseline, you have Roy Williams, Coach K, Coach Calipari, and the Coach Self from Kansas was all on the baseline. I'm the only player on the court that's white, and then I'm the only player that's starting that isn't currently now not playing college basketball.
Right.
So it's just a crazy experience to even been on that team and then being the starting point guard in general was just crazy. We ended up getting upset later that year, but it was just a great way to finish my basketball career. But in January, I took a official visit. We took an official visit to Davidson, and then I took a walk-on visit to Thayer, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't an official visit, but I went to Davidson. It was a good time. I liked the people, and then I was like, I was ready to commit, and then my dad was like, "Well, you have that visit next week at NC State. Don't you think you should wait and just see what they have to offer before you commit?" And I was like, you know what, you're probably right. So I didn't commit.
They put Lexington pads. They put everybody. They got Lexington pads.
I told the coaches, I was like, just give me some more time. So when I went there, what really sold me with NC State was what I felt like they could do to my body physically and help my athletic potential blossom.
Absolutely.
And so what they had with the weights, the speed, the speed, and just overall athleticism program, what they have with nutrition, recovery, just the facilities in general, I just put it over the top. I'm like, I'm gonna bet on myself to earn a scholarship to play here, rather than go to Davidson and not really know if I'm gonna be on my own a lot. I'm gonna have to train on my own a lot if I want to see growth, and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? I think I want to play football. So I decided to do that. Finished basketball season, we lost, unfortunately. I think we were 29-1.
Yeah.
Got upset by 71st in the playoffs. And then baseball season comes around, and I still hadn't told Davidson what I was doing, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm going to go to NC State.
Yeah.
So I let them know that I'm not going to go there. And they were like, I think they were trying to tell me they had a player that was in my shoes before that tried to walk on and play football or decided between playing baseball, and he walked on football and hated it and stuff like that. I'm like, I didn't really.
That ain't me, cuz.
I was like, you know what?
Got
That's
a
a great.
guy.
I'm gonna make the most of my opportunity.
He tried to play football. His name was Steph something.
Exactly. Yeah.
But baseball season, Trent. That was the first year he was there. I think we went 21 and
y'all were tough
4
that year.
or something like that, and we get to the third round of the playoffs. We're playing a really powerhouse team out of Greenville, GH Rose.
Yeah.
Trent,
I remember that. Yeah.
Trent pitched against Millbrook. I think it was it was a Saturday night because he got rained out Friday night game.
Mm-hmm.
So Saturday night, Trent pitched the bare minimum right before the pitch count where he can throw the next game.
Yeah, he turned
around. He threw. We won 5-0, and then we're like, Trent, you're on the bump again.
Yeah, exactly.
And he pitched good all year, but it was a great year. I think I hit maybe around 500 that year, which is great.
Quick funny story about too. At the JH Rose game, my dad's calling pitches for Trent.
Oh yeah, the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year. He's telling him what pitches to throw, and Trent hadn't shook him off all year.
Nope.
And this big donkey comes up, and y'all up by 1 or something like that. Yeah.
Leadoff guy.
Yeah. Oh, the leadoff guy even. Yeah. But he's he's stud.
450 on the year.
Yeah, he's stud guy, and Trent he goes, no, I'm not throwing him break him all. I'm fucking throwing him fastball. I'm gonna blow this shit right by him. And the kid takes him 350 in the right field.
Yeah.
2-run bomb.
But the thing is,
no, not even.
Your dad had your little signals with Trent where he could tell him what he wanted him to throw. And our head coach knew it was happening, but it worked all year.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going to say anything to
Funny
him.
as shit.
So he also pitched the majors, so he's not going to say anything to him.
Yeah.
So like the whole year, his dad was giving him signals on what to throw, and Trent's like up there, like looking behind the home plate, backstop.
Yeah. Not even looking at the catcher. Yeah.
He's looking. The catcher's not even. The catcher's just like this.
He's just ready.
The catcher's just shaking. It's like.
I don't even know how he relayed what he was throwing.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Strike 3, walk off, Disney movie, catcher takes it right to the face. It's coming.
But we unfortunately lost that game. But as soon as I lost that game, I was like, all right, my high school career is over. And it just like sort of set in like, okay, I need to really like focus on football to try to, get a scholarship and play. And then the first thing I did though when I got on NC State campus was walk into Coach Avent's office and just say, hey, like I don't know
Exactly.
I didn't know if you know who I am. They said they had heard of me or whatever, but I was like, is there any opportunities to maybe play baseball here once I get settled in for football? And they're like, yeah, we'll have you come work out after football season.
Sure, they hated your workout.
So my freshman year,
Yeah, this kid's not athletic.
my freshman year I gained 10 pounds or 15 pounds, so I redshirted. I
Me
played
too.
scout team.
Yeah.
I played scout team against guys like Bradley Chubb and NFL stars that are currently tearing it up in the league. Naheem's in the league. Jalen Samuels, Ryan Finley, Kelvin Harmon. You can go. The list goes on. Like how many guys? Garrett Bradbury, our center, is now. He was a first-round draft pick. Like crazy amount of people. I redshirted, played scout team. I think like I did really well on scout team, so I earned a lot of people's respect by going against the starters on defense every day.
For sure.
So I get to January and Avent works me out in the outfield, and I put on all this new muscle from football, and so I didn't really hit on the field since I did that. So obviously I've always been a good hitter. I've hit gap to gap. I really haven't hit a lot. I hit a lot of home runs when I was younger, but as I got into high school, I really just became a gap to gap hitter, base hit kind of guy.
Right.
I get hit BP. I hit probably 50% of the balls that I hit out over the fence. And they're like, what the hell? And so they're like, all right, well, they didn't expect that from me. So when I did that, they pulled me into their office and said, hey, we got 3 starting outfielders who are going to get drafted this year. He's like, you'd be better off to come out here next year so you could obviously have a chance to play, because this year it'd just be hard to be wasting your time. I was like, all right, I'll do that. So that spring, 2018, I became the backup slot receiver, the punt returner. I got my scholarship. And Coach Dorn came to my house in May on my birthday, I think it was, or Mother's Day weekend, I think, and gave me my scholarship. And and he said it was the only player he's ever coached to get a scholarship before stepping foot on the field, actually playing in a game.
Yeah.
And he said the only other player that he did that for was J.J. Watt, which is his lead. And he said, what did he say? He said, you better live up to that name or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn.
Coach, what size shoes are these?
Jesus Christ. Exactly.
And so just him saying that sort of lit a fire. I was like, okay, I got to actually prove myself again.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh, dude. And the thing is, I swear, I remember this like it was yesterday. And I was at Woodland Baptist Church where we used to always practice. And I get in my car after we had a workout or something like that. Me and my dad had hit. And I was waiting, I was trying to figure out my phone. I was trying to play some music or something. But it happened to be on a radio station talking about NC State football. And they were talking about your brother. And they were like, Drake Thomas is coming in. He committed to NC State, blah, blah, blah. And then this dumb-ass radio person, I don't know if I've ever told you this dumb-ass guy on the radio is like, oh, yeah, and Thayer Thomas gets a scholarship definitely just because Drake Thomas committed there, or they wanted, Drake Thomas to commit, so they offered Thayer. And I literally, bro, I swear to God, I wanted to punch the fucking radio.
Literally.
I wanted to call him and be like, y'all are ridiculous.
Number 6.
Who the fuck you think? I'm telling you, man. Y'all are crazy. This is stupid, man. You're an ignorant person for talking like that. You have no idea what this kid has really fucking put his body through and what he has really earned the right to, earn that fucking scholarship without playing a game. Like you were saying, man. That's ridiculous.
When they gave me the scholarship, it was around the time Drake was supposed to commit and stuff. So,
Yeah.
a lot of probably people thought that. And
Yeah.
I was
Oh, for
it
sure.
sort of was bothering me a little bit because I was like, this has nothing to do with that.
Exactly.
In my opinion, it is.
Oh, no.
Because I had proven myself on the practice field
Right.
with all the guys.
Uh-huh.
And, it just was, I was like, I can't wait for my first game because I'm going to show them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh.
So, my first college game, we're fast forward to August, we played JMU, and I'm nervous as hell. I'm the starting punt returner. And
That's a nervous fucking job to have.
Yeah, especially when I haven't played in a game yet, in a college game.
Yeah.
And then I rotated in the receiver. So my first touch in college was a punt return. I fair catch my first punt return. And then then the next
Then
one.
you got the butterflies out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Oh my
The
God.
next one I go out there, I return it 40 yards, and then that same drive, they put me back in receiver. My first catch was a touchdown.
Oh my God, I remember.
So that was
Yep.
honestly the best feeling I've ever had.
Oh, that's awesome.
Even though I've had a lot of other plays and stuff like that, it's just that one.
Uh-huh.
Just it just like all the hard work felt like. It was
You probably had done each of those plays at least 1,000 times before you did it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Would you credit obviously you said your scheduling was pretty big, especially it seems pretty seamless going from high school to college. Is there anything that changed from especially high school to college? Now that you're on your own, you're away from your parents, obviously still very structured at NC State. Is there anything you added to I guess your day to day that helped you?
I would say I've been pretty consistent on trying to just stay true to who I am and what I do and consistent with that aspect of it. But I would say the major factor that I've had to, work on is the mental side. Having confidence in myself. I'm the person. I am the right person for the job. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. I deserve to be there. Even though I'm very humble and I think my friends could say that.
Absolutely.
I don't really brag or I don't try to say anything. I'm very humble.
Yeah.
And I just people tell me you need to have more swag or confidence in yourself, showboat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's I do it in my own ways, but I feel like that, developing the confidence to play the game is something that I've gotten better at, especially from high school. In high school I might have not been sure of myself, but now I can tell you I'm sure of myself, of who I am and what I can do.
Absolutely.
And I
Bigger
think it's helped
stage,
me. Yeah.
And obviously, not showing that impulsive excitement, it's almost like if someone catches something on accident, you're like, whoa, oh my God.
Yeah,
but if you go and just burn a guy, catch the ball and drop it, go back to the huddle, it's I'm like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
That was sick.
Right. He's been here.
That's an awesome way to carry it.
And you know what? Who taught me that? Who preached that? Your dad would always be like, act like you've been here before.
Yeah.
And he would always hate people that would, showboat, and do stuff like that when we were younger. And I feel like that tendency of the way, just that talk that I've always heard from both our dads is just stuck with me.
It's almost, I'm telling you, man, it's in a way, it's almost more intimidating. If a guy makes that catch and literally drops the ball down and he does nothing, and you're just like, oh, whoa, this guy, this is just a walk in the park for him. This is something he does every day, and you're nothing new to him. You do not bother him whatsoever. So I think that there is the happy medium. But now, you've got that little swagger to a degree, and it's definitely not anything over the top by any means. But you do. I can see that more confidence.
I've tried to not try to think of things I can do, but just try to allow myself to just show what I can do and just allow the confidence to show sometimes a little bit, but not to a point where it's over the top.
It doesn't seem like you're holding anything back. I feel like just genuinely that's it. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So take us to obviously skip a little bit, but you said you got drafted.
Oh yeah.
Red Sox. I thought that's the next big baseball milestone.
2018. So fast forward through that first season. I had that first game.
Right.
I had that first game, and the rest of the season went really well. That second game, I actually started at receiver because our starting slot got hurt, and I had 100 yards, and I ended up being the fastest NC State receiver in history to get 1,000 yards. Which not really people know that.
Damn.
But it was a pretty cool thing that I had for that. And then I ended up having a decent year, and so after that season, we actually had a really good year. Went 9-3, went to the bowl game, played Texas A&M. We got smacked, so we ended up 9-4. And after the game, Coach Doran, the first thing he says to me is "Are you playing baseball?" I'm like, "I just finished the game. I don't really want to talk about this."
Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah. So we fly back. To make it worse, we fly back. 15 minutes after we land, I'm in the car. Coach Avon calls. "So you coming to our team meeting?"
Yeah.
It's in 3 days. So I had just finished a 6-month season, and I'm just ready to have a little bit of time off. And he calls me and it's we have a team meeting in 2 days. So I'm I got 2 days to really have a break, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm in my head, I'm do I really want to do this? Is it really worth it? The stress I'm about to put on my body? And I'm you know what? Not many people could say at a Power 5 school that they could play one sport but 2 sports, and then also that I've been doing this my whole life.
It's nothing new.
Just 3 or 4 sports, whatever
7
it
sports
is.
less.
Yeah, exactly.
It actually wasn't. Yeah, so basically I was you know what, I'll go. And so I go to the team meeting. I don't have a locker. I don't have anywhere to sit. I just feel like outcast at the team meeting. But I can tell you right now, within 3 days, I felt like I was been part of the team for 10 years. I'm closer with a lot of the baseball guys than I am with the football guys.
Really?
They text me before every game.
That's awesome.
It's just a great environment over there, and I love it over there. And that's what, continued me to push through the tough times I had during that baseball season, to continue to play and to continue to go out there, because at first I did well in the scrimmages. I probably hit 300 in the scrimmages. Like, we have scrimmages probably every other day leading up to your first opening weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So they keep track of stats and stuff just to see who they're going to start.
Yeah.
And I'm like one of the top guys, and I'm just like, everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, this guy is thousands of swings behind these guys. And so obviously I want to credit like just the amount of swings I've had my whole life, where I've just developed the natural like ability to pick it up and be able to hit and stuff like that. And so doing that, I had a meeting, and so basically I was gonna see how it played out. So I was gonna ask, before opening weekend, are you gonna play me a lot? If not, I'll go play football and not play. And he's like, you proved yourself you can play, so I'm gonna start you the second game of the weekend. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm playing. So we get out there, and so the funniest story, bro. It's opening day. All right. I have a class conflict on Fridays, and so usually if I'm gonna play, I would skip it or I would get an excuse note. But he said, you're not starting today. Go ahead and go to hit BP. The class is at 1:45, and so the game's at 3. So it's like 1:45 to 3:30 or something. Mm-hmm. So he's like, hit BP. You go to class. We'll have our ops people come pick you up in a car. Get dressed in the locker room. Just come to the game. Like, come out late. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right. So I hit BP. Go to class. Come back, they pick me up, get in the locker room. I come out, and it's like the third inning. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is my first ever college baseball game. So I'm just like trying to like
fashionably late.
I'm trying to.
Is this the right goddamn field?
I'm trying to understand. Like, I'm trying to take it all in because it's my first game. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know how the coaches are gonna act. Like, a lot of stuff's happening.
Sure.
We get to the 5th inning. He looks down at me. He's like, grab a bat.
Go ahead.
He said, grab a bat.
Hop in the box.
And so he's like, so I'm like, oh shit. Like, I didn't think I was gonna get in because he said I wasn't playing today. Yeah. So I grab my helmet. I grab my helmet, get my bat, go in there, bloop single. I got a single.
Knock.
Knock. And I was like, everybody's like, of course that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, there was like, I'm sure that everybody was happy for you, even from looking from a standpoint of, because I play baseball, and if I had a football player to come and they missed the entire fall, and now he has taken some of my reps, I would almost have a slight little.
And that's what sort of happened. Like, even though I love the guys so much, there might have been a few that were upset about it.
Sure,
but I would say the majority had no problem with it.
Yeah,
and they just respect it to a point where there's like, this kid, I respect it because this shit he's doing is really hard.
Yeah,
and so basically, I played that weekend, did all right. I think I ended up maybe with another hit that weekend, so I was like maybe. I started the next day. I made a really good catch in center field. Yeah. But it was like, I don't know how you got with your college coaches, but like Coach Avens, like if you're not his main 6 guys and you and he switches he starts different people from the 7th hole, 7th, 8th, 9th hole. He'll start different people. Right. Now if you start a game over 2, he'll sub you out.
Yeah. Oh my God. No problem.
He'll put somebody else in the middle of the game.
Somebody else. Need another guy.
He'll play the bottom 3 guys. Whoever's hot, he'll play them. Right. So basically, like, I was playing every third day up until but we started out 20-0, and during this time I hit a couple of doubles. I actually hit a home run. The day I hit my home run, the day I hit my home run, we had started spring practice for football, and the deal was with our football team was I attend all the spring practices that we had. We had 15 of them in the spring. So that day we actually had a scrimmage. We had a full tackle scrimmage in the morning. I did that. He told me I wasn't gonna play. Yep. So I did that. Went to the baseball field at like 2. The game started at 3. Showed up a little bit late. Yeah. Okay. As BP was already started. Right. So I get there and it's like 40 degrees, really cold day. Hitting BP, I'm not playing. We get up and he's like, you know what? Grab a bat. It's in the 6th inning. It's probably 40 degrees. I get a bat. I'm like trying to warm up. I'm biking on the bike in the dugout. Yeah. Bro, I go in there. I hit home run. Yeah. Dead center off the batter's eye.
Off the batter's eye, just.
I think the projected distance on the hit track was 430.
430. Yeah.
The exit velocity was like 112. I'm like, I don't understand how.
What's that about?
I don't understand how I did it this day still. Yeah. Even though I hit a lot of BP, but never to dead center. So
you do.
Keep going.
Later in the game, I hit a double again. So it was just a great game to have early in my college baseball career. But
I got you. No, you're good. Keep going.
Where are you from, Georgia?
All right. hit the bomb. Had no idea he did. Straight out of hitting football practice.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. We ended the season. You cut this part out.
I might leave it. It's funny. No, I'll cut it. We'll hit like a college like day-to-day college transition after we go through like the next little like your senior year now and then do the whole baseball thing.
Yeah.
Right. So start back up.
Yeah. So basically, throughout that baseball season, I had a really good start to the season, and then literally halfway through it, we were 20-0, and then I had to go. Basically, spring football practice was starting up, so that I would miss some of the games because of practice, and that was the deal going into it. I would attend all the football practices, and that disregard if I had a game for baseball because I'm on scholarship for football.
Mm-hmm.
So then, obviously, Avent can't put me in the lineup if I'm missing games and stuff like that. So like during that period of time, I wasn't playing a lot, and then when I got back officially after our spring football game, it was just hard for him to find places to put me in the lineup because at first it really wasn't fair for the guys who've been there the whole time and working their butt off. Obviously, you know what it's like.
Right.
And then I don't know, just different circumstances it happened. So, but I knew people were looking at me like as in the scouts were there every day before because we had a lot of draftable guys that are good. We had a lot of first rounders, and so they were there watching BP and everything that we did. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take that very seriously and try to, catch their eye. And I would take, hacks in BP. I would fucking try to kill the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I would run down fly balls, shagging balls, and just just be an extra effort guy and showing that I can run in the outfield. And so those guys definitely took notice of that, even though I didn't really play the rest of the season about like as much as I wanted to. The baseball season ended. We started football workouts, and it was draft day. Obviously, the first day is first round, whatever. I don't know whatever it is, the first round. And then it's the second day and the third day. The third day is the last round. So I'm like, if there's a chance I'm going to get drafted, it would be probably the third day. So we have football workouts that day, and it's like during the time that I could potentially get called. So I forwarded my phone calls to my mom's phone in case they call. So I was at football practice, and I get back to my phone and realize they called my mom and told me they had drafted me, selected me.
That's so sick.
33rd round, 1,007th pick of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's really low in the draft, but just to hear my name called in professional sport, I felt was pretty special.
A year ago, you were walking into the locker room and like, yo, hey, can I come hit balls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys care if I play with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that definitely got a lot of respect to the guys, like on my baseball team. They're like, damn, like the scouts see something in him too. Like he's pretty damn, and I'm not gonna say good because I really haven't proved myself on the college level of baseball, but I've shown ability and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're probably in crazy company hitting a home run, having like a certain amount of touchdowns, certain amount of turn yards. Probably you, fucking Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Exactly.
They definitely a lot of baseball guys will project ability based on athletic ability.
Yeah.
Just different things like that.
For sure.
And
I know
so,
the Red Sox love dual sports guys, man.
Yeah, they really like dual sports guys, and they'll take a low pick on someone like they would give a guy like that a chance. And so, honestly, at first I was like, okay, there's no way they're going to offer me an amount of money that I'm going to sign. So I'm just sort of like, okay, I'm just going to not sign. But they ended up offering me like $250,000, which is a decent amount of money. But
it's whatever.
My dad was like, I don't think that's enough money for you to pack up everything and sort of leave NC State for your experience, for your football career and stuff like that. So he's like, maybe if they would offer you around like $750,000 to $1 million, then maybe you would do that.
Sure.
But, he said, I don't think that's worth it.
Right.
Long story short, I get to end up talking to Russell Wilson.
I remember, dude. Me and Trent were waiting on the side. Yeah.
So Russell Wilson obviously was did the same thing I did at NC State, went through the same experience, and we have a lot of the same ops people that still work there, and so they were like, you know what, a good person you could talk to would be him because he went through it and he could maybe guide you through his process and maybe like make the decision easier. So Russell, I talked to him for about an hour.
Russell.
It was crazy.
Russell, good old Russell.
I'm like in the weight room doing whatever I'm doing, and I get a phone call. I'm like, I'm not even looking. I just like go in my pocket and put it on do not disturb or like silence it. And then I put my phone, and like 5 minutes later, it says missed call from unknown number. And then below it says, hey man, it's Russ here, blah, blah, blah. Like, can you call me back when you have a chance? I'm like, damn, I just declined Russell Wilson. Yeah. So I get my phone.
Grind stops for nobody.
Right.
I call him back, and he's like, one of the most incredible conversations I've ever had. Like, this guy can talk your ear off, but it makes you just want to get up and you're motivated from just hearing him talk.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, the way he was talking, he's like, yeah, I'm out here in LA training, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm like, damn, like, he's living the life for sure.
Right.
And he just basically, the main message I got from him was, football will not always be there for you. Baseball is something you can fall back on because it's like you can play it when you're a little bit older.
Yeah,
football, your window to play is very short.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, make the most of it. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I just feel like,
listen to him.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna sign, and I'm just gonna try to play football. So I didn't sign. You know,
It seems like it's working out.
This is probably in July, but it didn't seem like it though. First, so July we played football season. I had a good year last year, but we went 4-8.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of the season, I wasn't playing well. I pulled my hamstring.
Season before last or last season?
Last season.
Okay, all right.
So last season, as in 2019 season.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled my hamstring with 5 games left. I was playing through it, but I could probably equate the pulled hamstring to going a football season, nonstop, going straight into baseball season, and then going straight into another football season.
Right.
I could probably tell you and I was training on the side of that. So I can tell you that's definitely why I pulled my hamstring pretty bad the way I did. And so the season ended up shitty, went 4-8, didn't play probably to what I had wanted to because we replaced the guys ahead of me the year before were like 1,000-yard receivers.
Right.
I didn't have any of that close to that. And I was just like, I don't know, this is a very depressing time last year because we ended up, at the end of the season, we got smacked by UNC, which is our rival, and then we'd beat them 3 years in a row prior, so I'm like, damn, like, we're really falling off the damn face of the earth right now. So I really had to look myself in the mirror last year, in 2000, like, December, right, basically a whole year ago, right now, like a year ago from today. And so we were like, you know, I really had to just turn it around in 2020, and so I was going to get into, like, what I did during quarantine and stuff to, you know, because that was a crazy time for everyone. I don't know. You definitely, your season got canceled. Like, how was that for you?
Shut down. I mean, no, it was just completely, you know, we get 15 games in, and this was going to be, you know, it was up for grabs on, like, my last season possibly. And, you know, we play at Belmont Abbey, and we get back on the bus, and then all I hear is this COVID talk, and they're like, yeah, dude, they're shutting the season down. And then all of a sudden I think, and I'm like, oh, my God, is this my last baseball game?
Yeah.
You know, is this it? I'm sure it was the same for you, you know, with lacrosse. And then, you know, thankfully they gave us the year back, but, you know, and we're trying to make the most of it this year. But, you know, it was just, you know, it's hard. It's really weird time.
Yeah, so we're the same age, senior season, like just gone out of nowhere. Your friends you made over the past 4 years, your brothers, they had 3 days to go home.
So did some guys choose to come back and some guys didn't?
So I'm one of one of my roommates also, 2 of 3 guys I'm choosing to go back just because like job market obviously wasn't great.
Exactly.
Scholarship, obviously a scholarship, you can't really turn that down.
Yeah.
And then just like for everybody else, there wasn't much going on in the world because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
So that's why you would come back, because there's not a lot of opportunities besides.
The trade-off. It's better to go spend the money now, get like a master's degree, than to take a crappy job and maybe make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
And also it's like just, I guess, like the inner athlete. Like we've all played sports our entire lives.
Exactly. Oh, man.
If I left a season on the table, even if I like made a bunch of money, was very successful, whatever, I'd still have that in the back of my head when I was like 35 years old. Like, man, I still could have played.
Yeah.
I could have done it.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I've always like tried to, you know, in a way looked at it like that, because there have definitely been times where I've had doubts and been like, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore, you know, but I don't want to be the guy to take the jersey off my back.
No.
Yeah.
I want it to be the other way around.
That was
If I want to stop, they got to fucking rip that shit off of me.
And that was my outlook on it. My whole high school child career, everybody was like, you need to focus on one sport. And so I just was trying to play as many as I possibly can, as long as I can, because I didn't want to have any regrets.
Mm-hmm.
But going into the last year, 2020, I decided, you know, I was still going to go out for baseball. I went out in the spring from January to mid-February and practiced every day, and I was doing football workouts on the side, and I was it just felt deja vu from the year before, me being tired all the time, and I was just like, I did good in the scrimmages of baseball. I did better than I did the year before in the scrimmages. And we're getting to the opening weekend. I go to Avon's office, and I'm just like, I just can't. I'm not going to do it this year. I just said, is there any way for me to keep this door open, you know, and for future if I wanted to come back and not just close it off completely? And he said, yeah, I'll redshirt you this year. That way, in the future, you can just come back and act like nothing happened.
Right.
And so I'm really grateful that he did that. We have a great relationship, and regardless of that. But if it wasn't for our relationship. I don't know if he would have did that for me, but we have such a good relationship that he was able to do that. So we started spring ball. We got through 5 practices. I went on spring break to Isle of Palms with Blake Prohl, Tyler Sneed, and we're out there hanging out, working out, having a great time. And that was when everything got canceled. And on my way back is when the NBA canceled. I'm driving on the way back.
That was it. Yeah.
And I get a notification the NBA's canceled, and fucking everything else just started canceling.
Yeah.
And it was just like a landslide. It started out with being you got one more extended spring break, That's what it was at
hype.
first.
Everyone was hype at first.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's like, we had no idea.
Lo and behold, we don't
So,
hate it, but.
I had, little by little, we were able to still work out in our weight room, discretionary, and then little by little they shut everything down.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what, I have an apartment down at NC State. I can live down there on my own. But I decided to move back home in Wake Forest, where my brother's going to be. Both my brothers are going to be my mom and dad. And that way I could have 3 meals a day and not like have
You got your schedule.
shitty meals.
Uh-huh.
So I made sure, my mom's a great cook, and she, tries to cook the best nutritional meals that she possibly can for us. And so she obviously knew my mindset of like, all right, I want to come home so I can eat healthy, eat clean, stuff like that. So I did that, and she helped me along the way. Like, she got all the supplies I needed, or all the food, which I'm grateful for. Like during that 5, I know we were running her grocery bill up. Because she obviously was just Lex at the time living there.
Yeah.
And so when me and Drake moved back there, it's like we go.
Another 4 miles.
We go through. We
Don't
go
count for 2 apiece.
We'll go through the fridge and
Drake might count for 3.
we go through the fridge in a 3-day period, and she got to go back, and she's like always complaining, like, you guys are running my bill up. And
Yeah.
Drake was telling me a story about how he used to carry like food around with you
I'm
at all
telling you, man.
times.
I'm telling you, the kid, it was just a diligence thing, But he wouldn't miss, if we.
Because I was always trying to gain weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, I felt like I was responsible for myself to try to gain weight.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is eat a lot.
But dude, it was admirable in a way, Like you would be, or you were upset. Just a quick thing. Like we were trying to go to the lake, man. We were super late. I was waiting on you, and then all of a sudden you were like, dude, we need to go pick up food or something like that. And I'm like, dude, we don't have time. Like this guy's been at the dock for us. He's been waiting for us 20 minutes. We're already behind. I don't want to
always
wait
fashionably
anymore.
late.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're always late.
Fashionably old and PB&J.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. This was a tuna packet that was at the bottom of his bag. He's got his plastic fork, and he rips it open like nobody's going to fucking smell the shit in the back. And I'm like, dude, are you joking? This guy just pulls out tuna, and he's fucking grinding. And, but it pays off, though, because then you see, the results and things like that from the consistency. And I think that's one of your probably biggest things that you can go back on is the fact that you have been consistent probably since you were like 12.
Hardest thing for a man to be is consistent.
Yeah.
And so I've always just fallen back on that.
Yeah.
I feel like consistency will get people a long way.
Dude, that's an admirable thing. That's something that I've always, looked at you for, and your work ethic and everything like that, man. And it's you're reaping the benefits right now, man. And if there's anybody I swear that I know of for sure that is well deserving of all the accolades that you've earned yourself is for sure you, man. So I appreciate you coming on, dude. I appreciate you having us on College Uncles. I know we ran up some time. Oh yeah, sure.
Like, so going through, it's obviously like your consistency has never wavered throughout, obviously playing so many sports. You've always seemed consistent and driven, and it would just kind of just change avenues what it was.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like you had doubt? I feel like it's the wrong word, but did you ever feel like an uncertainty where it's like you're working as hard as you can, but you feel like the other things aren't taking care of themselves? Like things that were outside of your control?
Yeah, I would say the first one was, during the period of me trying to get recruited, like, I was just like, I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff. Like, am I hurting myself by playing 3 sports? Shit, like, I see all these other kids focus on one sport and play year-round, and I see them reaping the benefits of it. Do I need to do that instead of trying to, being pulled from all different places and just be, like, depleted everywhere?
Right.
And then also my parents were very tough on me, just like, just by my performance, and, my mom would be like, we're paying a lot of money for you to play like that and stuff like that. I'd be like, damn, Mom. Exactly. And so, like, oh man, like, and that would just sit like heavy on my heart, like, damn, like, am I doing this the right way? And it just a lot of mentally for me. And then I would say the other part would be probably last year when I didn't have the season that I wanted to, because I had a decent freshman season, a really good freshman season for a freshman.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I'm a sophomore now. I'm going to take this to another level. And I did do certain things. I had a punt return touchdown. I had whatever this, whatever that. But I didn't have, like, the total, complete season that I wanted to. And I'm like, I just did like I put in so much work. I'm like, damn, like I don't understand why I'm not having what I'm wanting. And it's like, you know, I really had to look myself in the mirror, and I felt like quarantine was a great opportunity for me to reflect on what I need to change in my life, what I need to do in my life, what I need to continue to do. And I feel like that just, you know, the amount of time I spent with my brothers, just like every day, like I would spend all day with my brothers just working out.
And then you'd have a handful of kids just show up at the field. I remember you telling me that.
I would put on basically clinics during quarantine.
Yeah. They would follow.
Everybody in Wake Forest sort of knew that we were home and stuff, and so everybody would hit me up because like a lot of the kids, like some of the kids are playing college football, some of them are not, some of them are to smaller schools, but they all want to be around me and my brothers because like they want to, you know. I'm not saying we're all
you
pretty
surround
successful.
yourself. Yeah. You want to surround yourself with those kind of people.
You want to surround yourself with good people. So everybody would hit me up like, where are we throwing? Like this and that. So we would get defensive guys come out there to the field. We get offensive guys. We do one-on-ones, run routes, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like everyone benefited from it. Like even though like there would be 30 people at the field and there's COVID going around, nobody really cared. Like it was just because we knew each other for the longest, so it was just like easy to do. And then I would hit you all up. We would go. I don't know how many times we snuck into the NC. I don't know if you were there. We snuck in NC State to hit a couple times. Played pickup basketball a couple times.
Oh my God, on the outdoor courts.
It was just a good time to like really reset and get to hang with people you haven't hung out with in a while because of different circumstances. But I feel like quarantine really helped me have a great season this year. Just a reset button. Really focus on the mental side of it. I started doing boxing classes. Remember that? I told you that.
Just that's hard.
It's hard. And the guy the guy that I was doing them with is really good guy to get with. He's not your typical boxing coach. He's a very holistic type coach. He's a lot about the mental side too. He meditates and stuff like that. So like just different things I try to take from different places and just add them to my bag to use, just improve because everything. Ultimately, the ultimate goal is improving. Yeah. And sometimes you don't have a scale if you don't know if you're improving. Like, I worry about that all the time. That's probably my biggest fear. Like, am I getting better? Like, am I doing the right things for me to improve? Because if not, I'm wasting my time. Yeah. And so it's hard sometimes to really have a scale like, hey, I'm doing the right thing until you go up against somebody or have competition. Yeah. So then I would like getting with people at the field because I'm like, okay, this is my competition. Let me work on the things I've been working on, see if it works, and then I see improvement. Yeah,
you want to talk about competition, dude. You remember when we were playing on those outdoor courts, we all did not have basketball shoes or anything. It was me, you, and Reed. And
like, it started off like laughing, and we're like, oh, and by the end of it, we're like, I know,
pushing way too much, man. But it's just how it kind of goes, somebody gets to, we're playing to 11, somebody gets to 8, and we're all like, okay, now,
I ain't about to lose now.
No easy buckets now. No easy buckets.
It's like everybody turns it up.
Yeah, exactly. But, that's how it should be. I feel like that there's not really, it's not fun if, you kind of half-assing it in that way. Yeah. Then you don't have that real, true competition of really going at it, especially, when you're competing with friends and stuff. It makes it fun, man. So I always love that.
All right, last one. Keep it short. So, obviously, the isolation when it came to COVID, someone's been living a really fast life, but it seems like where you weren't even going home for 5 weeks when it was like middle and high school. Yeah. Doing two sports. I actually have never heard anybody doing as much as you have from probably the age of 10 to obviously what you are now. Yeah. What kind of sparked you to have that reflection other than, I guess, kind of more the standstill of COVID? And then what did that reflection kind of look like for somebody that's been going so fast and obviously succeeding in your own ventures, but what did you kind of nitpick about yourself at that time?
Yeah, so I felt like my body was speaking to me at the end of last football season just based on the fact that I was doing too much. It was sort of like I got injured because it was my body telling me like, hey, like you need to really slow down. And luckily, nobody really had a choice but to slow down during last spring. And so I didn't really have it. I just sort of followed along with everybody else who had to, sort of shut everything down. But, I would say the season, the way it happened last year for us, like, I had a bad feeling and bad taste in my mouth that, like, okay, like, my job, quote-unquote, my football job is not secured. Like, I feel like they're going to try to get guys in here and try to replace me. So, like, I had that in the back of my mind, even though I was a starter from the year before and I played a lot my freshman year.
It's a good mindset, though.
I think the coaches are going to try to replace me. And so my dad sort of, like, has that same, he's like, you better pick it up or stuff like that and just – go out there and you got to improve on the thing you need to improve on. And just knowing that in the back of my mind, like, I'm not safe, so I need to, take it to another level. And so some people might be like, let that bother them and let them let that make people be fearful and not sure of themselves. But luckily, I've been working on my mental state, doing different meditation stuff with a guy that I've been working with and stuff like that. That allowed me to realize that it's an opportunity for me to get better and grow instead of looking at it as a negative. And hey, man, these coaches are trying to do this and that to me. And I just tried to use them to let me fuel myself to get better.
Does he ever key in on visualization or stuff like
that?
Yeah,
that's a big one. So we'll have a meditation session where we'll close our eyes and try to visualize yourself doing something having success doing stuff. So if you visualize it, then ultimately you'll do it at some point.
Energy's out there.
Yeah.
So were you able to implement that this past season at State?
Yep. So for my freshman year, I've been doing it. So I have a meditation recording that I listen to on the bus ride to the stadium before every game. It's like a 6-minute little clip, and it literally put in my headphones. I close my eyes, I listen to it, and it's a visual it'll walk me through different things I need to do, and then basically it's very big on visualizing having success and stuff like that. So it's definitely, I feel like it helps me for sure to calm myself down before games, because playing, I've done a lot of things, but getting ready for a game mentally for a college football game, especially when there's a lot of fans, it's just crazy, bro.
I'm about
because if you go out there and mess up, it's all over social media. It's all over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You can't think about that though.
I know, but you know what?
It's always gonna be there.
You know what? As much as I've done NC State, the last game last year, I think I muffed a punt. Right, turned the ball over, muffed the punt in a crucial time period. We ended up losing to Georgia Tech, and their comment they tagged me so much shit. It's just trash.
All
people,
ruthless
stuff. They need to take your scholarship, even though I've done so much shit for NC State.
They won't talk about the positives. As soon as you got a negative, they'll ream you.
Yeah, and so that sort of just opened up everything. That was probably my lowest point in my college career right there. I was just damn,
How'd you combat that though? Obviously, it was a negative
my
point.
support system, my family. I cried like a baby on the way home from that game. It was an away game in Atlanta. It was a Thursday night game, so it was fucking on ESPN televised. It wasn't just a regular ass game.
Right.
And so when that happened, I was really down bad. I feel like we lost by 2 points, so they ended up scoring off that play. So I was I felt like the game was sort of my fault, and we were 4-6 at the time, and so if we win that game, we win 5 games, and then the last game of the season, if we win that, it just put us in a position to still make a bowl game.
Yeah.
And so when we lost that game, I was and that's when I felt like the tide had turned for my, where the way the coaches were feeling towards me, and so I don't know, bro. It was a lot to deal with. I'm not gonna lie, I was down bad.
So,
but you know what? I've dealt with. I've done that. I've had a couple bad plays, but I've dealt with it all the same way. Just put my head down and throughout the highs and lows, just act the same. Just try to be the same.
Absolutely, control what you control. That's really something that I've preached on this before. And just to wrap it up, so obviously you've been in the athletic sphere your entire life. What would you say the biggest thing that you could take away from things you've learned in athletics up to this point, especially in college, that you feel would be kind of accessible to say the common person in their normal life? What's something you say that athletics has taught you that an average Joe can learn from this conversation?
Definitely how to work through struggle and just work through struggle,
work through adversity.
Work through adversity, and then the other side would be earning something out of nothing, or making something out of nothing. Working your way to the top. And I feel like you can do that in life from a job standpoint, work your way from the bottom and end up being that CEO of that company, or different aspects of that. And I feel like in sports, it's just you're always trying to reach the next step. And I feel like life's like that. You're always trying to, make the next salary or stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So I feel like they're very, they work hand in hand together. And then also being able to, playing sports, I have so many different friends with different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different races. I can communicate with any type of person.
Yeah.
So I feel like, that has also helped,
absolutely.
just be able to communicate with anybody.
Perfect, man. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you filling us in.
Yeah.
Absolutely, brother.
Appreciate you having us on here. Hopefully we weren't too much of your time.
No worries.